will say, they are saying, their contention is that the chairman announced a turnout on 10th August 2022. That is the third line, Your Ladyship and members of the court, announced a turnout of 65.4%. What we have indicated is 64.6%. Your Ladyship, I will pause there to just inform the court that the chairman clarified that statement. The recording is in the affidavit of the chairman. And the actual clarification the chairman gave, he said that the total reporting polling stations, and if you hear his statement, it will give some clarification. We never say the total number of registered voters, because we will have that information when our manual count and everything has reported. We say total number of polling stations reporting. So in those schemes. So they're saying 64.6% must be of the total registered voters. That is their contention. That is their voter turnout. That is not the voter turnout of IEBC. The voter turnout as a percentage was, at that point, 64.6%. The number of reporting schemes were 21,926,565. You will notice from this number, there are some polling schemes which haven't reported. As they go to the constituency tallying center, those schemes will report. You will also notice that we haven't included the manual count to give us a total figure of the total voters who will have registered, who will have reported. On 10 August, when all the schemes returns have come from all the polling stations, the number of persons identified, that is the last number on the table, 14,239,862. As against the total registered voters in those stations which reuse the schemes, 22,005,541, giving a turnout of 64.7103. You notice, Your Ladyship, we haven't included the manual count. So that is all schemes in all polling stations. What remains now? Manual count. And this is important. I will pause there. We were very deliberate in trying to help the court in be able to identify and actually provide an audit process for the contesting parties' allegations. In the affidavit of Michael Ouma, we have attached 7 volumes of the schemes returns for every polling stations in the Republic. Why is that important for the petitioners and the court? That is the first audit trail process. How is it the first audit trail process of? We've provided the schemes returns per polling stations in the Republic. We've also provided the certified copy of the 30A. So if anyone wanted to look at how many people passed in that polling station, you will look at your schemes return, you will look at your 34A. And if there is any inconsistencies between the schemes return and the 34A provided to the court, then question can be asked to our client. So in providing an audit trail process, the first way of providing an audit, which is both manual and electronic, is the schemes return provided in the affidavit of Michael Ouma in 7 volumes, as against the certified copy of 34A we provided as per the regulations of this court. So we provided that. And if you look at those schemes returns, they will correspond with this. They are from 45,994 polling stations. The number of identified by schemes, 14,229,862. The total number of registered voters, 22,005,591. And the percentage is as indicated. We've indicated how many schemes there were. And I just want and after the aggregation of the manual and the schemes, and that's the table that's there. So to the question, I think that is important for the court, and the court will ask, is the first question that the court will ask, what is the registered voters in the Republic? And I think that is not contested. 22,120,458. I think it's in the affidavit of everyone, that the register is publicly available, that can be accessed. How many polling stations do we have in the Republic? 46,229. How many people are registered in those polling stations? 22,124,058. How many polling stations were authenticated through using the kits? 45,994. How many registered voters are those in those polling stations? 14,239,862. What are the registered voters in those polling stations authenticated through the kits? 22,005,591. What are the polling stations that were not authenticated through the kits? 235, out of which 6 polling stations, 3 in Eldas and 3 in Quisero, there was violence. And no voting took place, in fact, at the time of that. And so how many polling stations went manual? Using complementary system, 229. What are the number of voters authenticated through the complementary manual system? 86,889. What are the registered voters in those 235 polling stations? 114,917. Why are these numbers important? They are important for audit trail. First, we have provided the KIMS returns to the court, which can be compared as against. Secondly, 99.9914% of Kenyans were authenticated through the KIMS. Less than 0.001 Kenyans were authenticated through a complementary mechanism. And the reason why I go back to that is giving the court an integrity check as to what we did. So if we are telling the court that 99.99% of Kenyans were authenticated through the kits, we have provided the receipts from those kits to the court, we have provided the Form 34A, then the court can compare and will bear out the work we did. Another allegation falls off. So what is the allegation in the Omtata petition? And I will go back to the turnout table. Your Ladyship. They are saying that the turnout announced by the chairman on 10th August 2022 must be over the total registered voters. That is where the mysterious 140,000 is coming from. So they are saying the 64.60 must be from the 22,124,058. We are telling them that is not how we calculate our turnout. It was very easy to confirm with us and ask us how you do it. We're telling them that number is out of 21,926,565. We could not do it over the registered voters because some stations went manual, some KIMS had not reported. How will we give a number over a total in which we don't know the status of some of those stations? Because the returns have to come for us to be able to give that. So they're saying 64.6 over the total voter turnout will give you 140,000. IEBC has not accounted for 140,000 voters. It's a lie. I think they are wrong on the maths, and they are wrong on the substance, and they are wrong on the substratum of how we are calculating that. And I think it's imperative that the court understands that. So the issue of 140,000 is not here nor there, and we have demonstrated that. And the second issue is they say that there was 110 voters error, 110 error in the Form C. By virtue of that, the Form C is not a valid vote. We have acknowledged that error. It's a data entry error in 2 stations in Kilifi and 1 station in West Pokot. It is the error form for the C is attached to the chairman's affidavit of 110. The Form C is a collation of 46,229 polling stations, and there is an error of 110 in which we have explained the data entry. I think that is not something that is material to the Form C for the court to say that a Form C is invalid because of an error which you have acknowledged. Your Ladyship, we also want to confirm to the court, we have done an error report for each and every polling station in the Republic. And this is going to be, and we really are craving for the scrutiny report to bear, and this will bear us out. That the voters, what Kenyans voted on the 9th of August is what was transmitted, and it's what was actually announced by the chairman. the will of the Kenyan people was carried out through and through. And that will be borne on by the scrutiny of those ballot boxes. That will be borne out by the